is a retired member of the Israel Defense Forces. She's a senior fellow at the International Institute for Counterterrorism. Joining me now from Ramat Hasharon in Israel. Can you just explain where that is in Israel to viewers who may not know? Because we've seen fresh strikes in both Iran and Israel in the past couple of hours, and I'm wondering what the scene is where you are, Miri.
So thanks for asking, Becky. I'm actually sitting, Ramat Hasharon is a small town north of Tel Aviv. It's like a northern suburb of Tel Aviv. Ramah in Hebrew means high point. So where I'm sitting right now, I'm looking into the camera, but if I would lift my eyes, I'm at my mother-in-law's house. She lives at the highest point in Ramat Hasharon. I literally can see all of the greater Gush Dan, Tel Aviv area from the window in front of me. It's quiet here right now, and the siren an hour ago, I was in a safety shelter near my house. I came here because it's easier to be near the safe room that's inside an apartment.
Understood. Well, we're glad you're safe. Look, given Iran's threats to retaliate, potentially by targeting US bases or closing the Strait of Hormuz, this is after getting involved in the fight over the weekend with these US strikes on nuclear facilities. I just wonder how likely you think it is that this conflict will escalate further. What else do you see Israel and its allies preparing for beyond these strikes that we've been reporting, for example, this hour?
Right now, Israel is attacking the same category of targets that we have been from June 13th in the morning, and that includes the nuclear. They're saying, at least here in Israel, that we're also going back to some of the nuclear sites as we're talking right now. So Israel is going to continue to target the Iranian Revolutionary Guard commanders, the nuclear targets themselves, any type of air defense. That has to do also with the airplanes and helicopters that were attacked. You want to be sure that you have air superiority. Nothing can go up in the air. You're attacking the missile launcher sites and the installations where they're making them. So we have, in that sense, lots of targets because the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and the Islamic regime have built an enormous amount of capabilities. Having said that, I think that we are doing something quite effective. Because I know, yes, there are sirens here, and we're going to the safe rooms here, and there are booms and there are interceptions, but the Islamic regime is not able to fire what I'm going to call in military terms effective attacks against us. And I just want to add one additional point, that they are using cluster bombs, which are horrific. And that's part of the aspect that we are of the broad sirens, is because they're using a type of missile that explodes above the ground, not on the ground, and sends out lots of smaller type rockets and missiles. And they have used that already, and they're using those now.
Okay, and we will need to speak to the IDF to really get a sense and verify exactly what it is that they see coming in at present. But your point about what it is that Iran has left in its and its sort of war room, as it were, as Israel attempts to degrade its ballistic missile supply, is a point well made. The Europeans on the sidelines of all of this, but we have just heard from the Spanish foreign minister calling for stricter measures against Israel. Have a listen to this.
If the association agreement is based on human rights, it's the most normal thing that we suspend immediately today that association agreement and that we move forward. That's why I will ask for the suspension of the association agreement, an embargo of selling weapons to Israel, and enlarging the list of people that are being sanctioned to everyone that wants to be a spoiler of the two-state solution.
So, Miri, this is certainly mostly informed by Spain's highly critical position of Israel's actions in Gaza. But coming as it does now, in the middle of this conflict, a call for a weapons embargo at a time when people are also questioning, what Israel has left in its war room, as it were. Can I just get your reaction to that call for a European arms embargo?
So first of all, that was the Spanish, not the rest of Europe. And we should say that Spain has been very critical for a long time, and they've called for the embargo for a long time. That doesn't mean it's being implemented. And having said that, I'd have Spain look at themselves. I'm so not a supporter of the government that I live inside of right now. And again, there is very broad Israeli support, including me, for what we're doing against the Islamic regime. And I'd have the Spaniards go and look at what Israel is targeting, how we're doing it there, both on the humanitarian side. The Islamic regime is not targeting. They're firing at anything they want inside Israel. Just yesterday, very close friends of my parents in their 80s, their home was destroyed in a completely residential area. They were in a safe room, so they weren't killed. So it's just we're being penalized because these rockets that are coming through aren't killing people, and they have killed people here. We are targeting very specific military targets. It's Iranian Revolutionary Guard. I'd have the Spaniards go look at themselves in the mirror on what they're calling for. But again, this is Spain, not necessarily the rest of the European Union.
Yeah, it's interesting. Miri, thank you for your perspective. Miri Eisen there for you today. Well, much more of our breaking news coverage